Good morning. Hey, everybody. I had a crazy night, but it's almost time for me to check into the hotel. They won't let me check in yet, so I'm going to go to Walmart and get little food items because I'll be assigned a truck this week. So I just want to have my stuff ready for when I get it back on the truck. And I got to buy some cleaning supplies because I don't know how clean their truck is going to be. But anyways, I just wanted to check in, let y'all know everything is all good. I'm still a little tired, but I'm pushing through. So, what are your holiday plans? What's your holiday plans? I know some people celebrate the holidays. I don't celebrate Christmas, but I do buy toys for my grandkids because their parents celebrate, the Christmas and all that stuff. So I'm glad I have this job so that way I can buy them some things or whatever. I had the oddest dream last night. My enemies were in my dream. They just popped in my dream. So that means they're thinking about me. I'm very clairvoyant. So I can sense people's spirits and their energy. It sucks sometimes because, especially if I care about a person and they're going through something, I can feel what they're going through. So it's like it kind of makes me feel tired if I feel their energy. But yeah, they popped in my dream or whatever. They weren't on no evil stuff. They wasn't like trying to do nothing mean in the dream. If anything, they were actually trying to be my friend. But it was just the oddest dream. They were like, trying to chit chat with me. So that also kind of solidifies what I was saying about when you have moved on in life and you let go of the pain of whatever has been building up in your system, whether it was guilt, revenge, because some people, they get over a certain stage and then they get to the angry stage, kind of like when a person passes away, you have to go through the several stages of grief. So in life, when you go through losses, whether it's a relationship or money or business investment or betrayal, you have to go through those stages in order to know if you're truly healed. And each and every time I went through a situation with people, it caused a process of grieving and bereavement, and it was a lot of people attacking me, a lot. For several years, I've been going through, family betrayal, friend betrayal, enemies coming at me, demons. I mean, it was a lot. And I just kept putting on my shield of armor, and sometimes I felt like God had abandoned me and I didn't have no which way to turn, but it always ended up in my favor. It always turned around. Something always turned around. I don't know how to explain it, but the power of God, the power of the Holy Spirit will show you that even in the face of adversity, He will make your enemies eventually bow down. And it's not even about you trying to be better than anybody. It's just that when you continue to be in your alignment, you continue to have your peace, it makes the I don't want to say demons because everybody has their own spiritual belief, but it makes your enemies really want to come at you. But then the more they try to come at you, the more they will be defeated. Their karma will continue to grow while yours continue to decrease. So I started to feel like my karma was decreasing. All the things I did to people in the past, I started to come to peace with it. Because sometimes you do things and you forget about it. You do bad things and you forget about it. And then sometimes you get reminded through other people doing stuff to you. And you're like, I remember when I did that to another person. And sometimes those things would happen to me throughout my life. I would do something bad. I will move on, forget about it. And then when it comes and something happens to me, it's a reminder, oh, that must have been how that person felt when I did this and this and this. Whether it was being dishonest in a relationship, whether it was, lying about something, anything that would have hurt another person, you're usually going to get karma for it, one way or another. So I started, trying to do the right thing, mostly trying to stay focused on doing the right thing and putting more into myself, self-love. And it's been working. I can finally really say it's been working. But even when it wasn't fully evolved yet, I still tried to put the belief that as long as I keep my eye on the prize and do the right thing, stay focused, eventually I will feel the fulfillment. And I started to feel the fulfillment finally. I feel like I finally got a reset on life, and I'm at peace. I haven't been at peace in a long time. So even if people come at me now, it's not going to hit the same. When you at full peace, it's a beautiful feeling that people can't come and rile that old you up. I mean, there's going to be times where you may get a little, the old you come in there and you but you always going to recognize that someone is trying to shift your foundation, and you just get right back on track. So now that I've realized how it feels to be fully at peace, not worrying about what people say, not worrying about, doing this and doing that for people, and not feeling guilty about it. Now when I say no, when somebody asks me something, I say no, I don't feel I did something wrong. Because I already know I've come to full alignment with who I am. I know I'm a good person. I don't got to prove to you no more. I don't got to prove to nobody. I'm good. That's the best place to be. And I'm just saying, for whoever's still struggling with letting go grief, letting go old toxic ties, soul ties, all of that. It's going to be a process, but I promise you, when you get to the other end, it's a beautiful story you're going to have to tell. Because when I was in it, and these inner demons was tormenting me, my old demons was tormenting me, people's demons was tormenting me, I felt like there was no way out. I felt like I was in a rubber room and there was no way out. And it was like, now God was showing me, you got to face it head on. Some people don't have that strength, so they may have to take things in dose by dose by dose. I'm one of those people. If I take too long with the doses, just rip the Band-Aid off at this point. Just rip it off and let it sting. And that's what I had to do, because I kept taking too long to come out of the time loops that I was in, the vicious toxic cycles that I was in, constantly doing the same thing over and over. It's like I felt like I was going insane, doing the same thing over, dealing with the same people, the same dysfunctional, toxic, they're not even interested in your whole well-being type people. And people will destroy you if you let them. And they will move on to the next. You got to come to that point where you actually matter. So now that I've been there, that road, that journey, man, I could talk about it and be about it. And ain't nobody going to tell me shit about it. You see what I'm saying? But yeah, man, when women, y'all get out of these toxic relationships, if a guy is not committing to you and that's what you're looking for, and he keeps telling you blah 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 blah, stop wasting your time, because all it's going to do is turn you into a bitter Betty. You're going to be insecure. You're going to be comparing yourself to other women because you're not going to feel good enough. You're going to be like, oh, why isn't he not all the way there with me? It don't matter. It don't matter. If it's something he don't like about you and it's something you can't change right away, just move on. Just move on. Because you're going to be sitting up there trying to change yourself for this man, and no matter what you do, he's just not there with you. You're just not good enough. You're just not good enough for him. And it could be something that you probably will never be good enough for him. You know what I'm saying? Maybe he's unrealistic in what he's looking for. Some men don't know what they want. They think they know, and then when it's too late, you gone bye-bye. You see what I'm saying? Same thing for the men. If you're sitting around with this toxic female, and she doesn't want to, whatever you're looking for, she's just straggling you along, weighing her options. She doesn't know a true good thing when she sees one. Move on. It's gonna hurt. I promise you. You're gonna have some nights where your whole soul feel like it's just demolished. Like there's no coming back. It's kind of like being on a drug. Not that I've been on a drug, but I see what a drug can do to a person, and then they try to withdraw. The drug is bad in itself, and it's deteriorating that person's body and their teeth and their skin, but then when they try to withdraw, the pain is 10 times worse than the actual addiction. That's why people don't get off of drugs, because the pain of getting off is sometimes worse than the actual pain of the addiction. The addiction is like a temporary self-soothing to this person. But the withdrawal is the slap of the truth. The withdrawal is the face of the reality of what this drug has really done to you. It's going to come out in your pores. You're going to see your skin sweating. You're going to be, throwing up profusely. Your body's going to go through a whole 360 in a week. That's the truth coming out, the toxicity coming out, and it's showing you what it was doing to you the whole time. But it's doing it all in 1 week. That's why it feels so excruciating painful. Same thing when you break up with toxic people. It's like you got to withdraw from them. Your body has to go through all that withdrawal process, and it hurts. People don't want to accept that. They want it to be an easy, smooth, peasy breakup. No, that's not how it works. It's supposed to make you feel so bad that you never want to go back to that shit again. You never want to go back to that feeling again. So you're going to make sure the next time you get it right. You're going to make sure you ask these people, okay, so you said you believe in this, this, and this, and this. Okay, so now I'm going to put you to the test. We're going to date for a little bit, or if you have a friendship, we're going to watch you a little bit before we jump head in and invite you to all the picnics, all the barbecues. We're not finna do that again, because you're not about to call my family members and talk shit about me because I didn't do what you asked me to do. We're not doing that again. We're gonna get this right. We're gonna see how organically sane you are. And then if we make it to that point, yeah, then we could, then we could go there. If people would take this mindset, you have to look at people's states. A person's state will kind of tell you their personality. Because if there's nothing they're going through, and y'all just sitting down having a nice conversation, they're gonna seem perfect on paper. But when they start going through something, which is the state, what state you put them in? The state of stress. They come along and it's a stressful situation. And you see that they become a whole different person around this situation. Then they start attacking you. They taking out their feelings on you because they had a bad day. That's when you know what you're dealing with. They don't know how to have emotional regulation. If there's no, if humans don't have agency over their own situation, self-government, you can't date them. You can't be friends with them. You can't. It's not going to be a healthy relationship. Tell this person, hey, I like you, but I think you need to go get some help. And until you get help, me and you can't be in a situation. Because you have no self-government. As soon as something goes wrong in your life, you want to snap at me and have a bad attitude. I'm not finna do that, because I'm not taking on nobody's burden, nobody's anger, because it starts to become a part of your situation. Now you start feeling miserable and angry, I got enough problems. And yours ain't one of them. Sir, ma'am, I'm not doing it. So you got to start taking on that attitude when you deal with people. And don't isolate yourself. Some people be like, man, F everybody. I'm just going to go into a rock and just stay under a rock. No, that's not the solution either, because you're going to become a little cuckoo in the head. You need to be around people. Not everybody, but if that's the solution you decide because it makes you happy and you're okay with that, then that's fine. But a lot of times people are just running away from the what's the inevitable, which is they care about people, they want to be in a relationship, they want to have friends, but then instead of making that their goal in life, they give up and they say, I'm just going to go the other way and be avoidant and just be by myself and never have a friend, never have a marriage. In a way, that's kind of like In a way, that's kind of like you defeated the purpose. That was the whole purpose of you coming into this life experience, was to experience that level of togetherness. Even though you may not have got there yet, why give up now? You know what I'm saying? People are like, oh, I lived my whole half of my life and I never had that experience. Okay, well, you still got another half of your life. You know what I mean? Maybe God is allowing you to live a little bit longer because he knows, okay, that's an experience that I want my creation to have. So just because you might get it later on in life, it doesn't mean it's not worth it. You got some people that get married in their late 60s and they're like, this was the best marriage I ever had. And it's just like, you're not dead yet. You know what I'm saying? Even if you, I don't care if you get all your desires in your 80s, at least you can go in the grave and said, I've experienced it. Some people just want to put a timeline on when this and this happened. Maybe when you were 30, you wasn't ready. You thought you were ready, but maybe you wasn't ready. And in your 40s, you probably was just getting a clue. And in your 50s, you probably was preparing. And in your 60s, you was fully evolved, fully ready. So God knows what he be doing when sometimes he bless you with certain situations. You got to look at the whole perspective. Stop worrying about what everybody else say. Just look at the whole perspective. Because if you listen to a lot of these people, it's going to make you depressed and it's going to make you crawl under a rock. Like when you listen to some guys and they'll say things like, women shouldn't date if they're older. They say, because if you hit the wall, right? And it's like, some women be in their best shape in their later life. And even if they're not in their best shape, some women have a more of a grace about how they grow older, and it attracts people. Nobody's really looking at the age or how they look. It's about the grace and how they treat people. And then you got some young women, they might have, great skin or whatever, but they treat people horrible. They're not good relationship material. And then it's like, even if the guy is dating the younger women, they're going to use them up until those same other younger women turn a certain age too. So them same women that are getting those options are getting treated bad. They're getting treated like sex objects. So would you want to trade places with them? Like, come on, let's be real. When I was young, I don't think when I think about it, when I look back on some situations and I look at older men that were attracted to me when I was in my 20s, if I can go back now, I would throw up on them. I'm like a young little girl. I'm just now learning about stuff. And because he got a few dollars, he got a nice car, he's like, oh, I can take care of you. And me as a young girl, I'm like, oh, sugar daddy, he's a disgusting pervert. But I'm not looking at it back then like, oh, I'm getting played too. So you gotta look at everything in a holistic perspective. Yes, it probably is better to date when you're young and fresh and you can have babies and stuff like that. But even when you think about those situations, some of these women have babies when they're young and they're really not mature in the brain. So they have children and the children are depressed. The children are not flourishing in a healthy environment. So those are not always the answer. Some of these people, they say, oh, you gotta, start young. No, start when you're mature. If it means starting at 35 and only having one child, do that. All of these societal pressures and societal ideals are not really beneficial to us humans because it doesn't go with what's really happening to us. It's forcing us to do things that we're really not happy to do. So if that means waiting for a while to find true love and then getting it right, but then possibly being too old to have a kid, so freaking be it. Why have a kid with somebody you're not going to be in a long-term relationship with? Like, what's the purpose at this point? You know what I'm saying? Everybody has their own free will, right? But sometimes we make decisions, to me, that just causes more problems. Just causes more problems. So think about that Don't give up hope. Don't let nobody take away your hope. And focus on your mission. If you're later on in life and your mission is to find your soulmate, or you always wanted kids but now you're old or whatever, adopt a child. There's kids out there that want to be loved. They don't have to come out of your womb to be a good parent. You feel what I'm saying? And same thing with, finding a soulmate. You're going to find somebody that's your age bracket that, if you might find somebody younger than you. If they're looking to get into a real, true love relationship, make it happen. Stop being shy. Y'all be too shy. Y'all be too closed off. If you're in the supermarket and you see somebody, you make a conversation. You don't have to be so blunt. Some guys are just so blunt, like, hey, can I get your number? That's creepy. Go read a book that tells you, how do I approach people? How do I approach women? And in women, the same thing. You're too closed off. If a guy is looking at you, don't act weird. Don't act like you rolling your eyes or you just not paying him no mind. It's like you're going home alone, crying about nobody wants you. But then you go out and about and all these men are looking at you. They're giving you the eye. They're giving you the signal. And you want to act like you can't see nothing. Give them a smile. You know how far a smile goes? You got bitches that want to claw my eyes out because I smile at somebody. They get mad because I might smile on my day-to-day. Like, I don't be meaning to be flirting. I'm not, because I know how to flirt. I don't flirt. I just be regular. And people be like, oh, she flirting. You know why? Because too many women are not friendly. So when they finally see somebody that's halfway friendly, they swear to God you flirting with them. I might say, good morning, sir. Oh my God, she want him. And I'm like, this man ain't even my type. Nowhere near my type. I'm just a friendly person. Jesus Christ. So that's what I'm saying. If it's easy for somebody like me because I'm friendly, if you're not friendly, learn how to be friendly. If you're single and you need to be in a relationship, because you got some people, they okay being alone. They okay dying alone. I'm not talking to those people. I'm talking to the people that you're like, well, how come this ain't happening for me? I'm not saying that's the only reason. I'm just saying that's probably one of the main reasons. You're not an approachable person. You're not a friendly person. Because not everybody out here on demon time. Not everybody out here, trying to sling ding-a-ling and sling coochie. Some people are genuine people. You just got to open up your awareness, open up your eyes. Sometimes your type may not be your type. Y'all want to get mad at people for interracial dating. Why? There's billions of people out here. If that person is interested in dating you, take a chance. See what happens. Don't knock a person because they not from Africa. Like, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? You're grown. You're a grown adult. You can date whoever the fuck you want to date. There's no quota and no blueprint that says you must only date this, and this. Because them people ain't with you in the bed when the lights go off, okay, honey? You do what the fuck you want to do. But you got to get to that point where you matter. Not everybody else and what they think. You matter. But yeah, if you're trying to meet people, you got to get in that frame of mind that, and don't be going out here talk about you want to meet people and you got all this guilt and baggage and heavy mental burden, and you just now coming out of this crazy toxic, almost half-death relationship where you was in a hospital or some shit. Don't do that, because now you becoming a problem in the dating arena. Get your baggage together. I'm not saying you got to be perfect, but be healed so that you're complete. Because the minute the next person do something you don't like, You might get a flashback. It might be somebody that you had narcissistic abuse, and then you jumping into another relationship, and then this person say one word that sounds similar to the narcissist you was with. Next thing you know, you going the hell off because you're getting PTSD and flashbacks because you haven't healed. You'll be surprised. Sometimes you might think you're completely healed, and then something happens and it brings back a memory. That's normal. That's normal. But you got to come to grips with that feeling. If that comes about while you're dating again, you thought you was completely healed, and you realize, what was I about to say? Why do I do that? I get a brain fart. You realize that you feel something that's negative. Whether it's suitable for the relationship that you're about to go into or not, it's doing something to you. Because you might be more hyper-vigilant because you just got out of something that was really crazy. So now you know to look for certain cues. But sometimes it could be your overreaction because you may still have PTSD. You have to decipher which one it is. If it's something that's coming from your problematic situation where you're not completely healed, this might be the time and the warning signals for you. Don't jump head into this new thing. Let this thing simmer. If the person is willing to understand, say, hey, I thought I was healed. I'm not fully healed. I might need a little bit more time, but I still want us to get to know each other, something like that. If that person is cool with that, that's cool. But don't ignore it. Don't pretend it didn't happen. Don't pretend you didn't have those feelings, because it will revisit if you don't deal with it. You say, well, how do you deal with it? Find out what it is that's not healed yet and start working towards that. So if that means you still haven't built trust with people, they might say something that triggers a feeling of you still have an insecurity with trusting people, then you might need to go do the work. What is it going to take for me to rebuild trust with people? It may mean gaining more friendships, gaining more understanding of people, gaining more understanding of self. What is it that makes you feel trustworthy that will allow you to drop your defenses with people? Understanding more about yourself can allow you to open up that when you meet people, so that they know, okay, I don't play that. Don't come around me with the half okey doke and making me feel like I gotta keep one eye open around you. If you feel like this person is about that life, that could be an indicator that you're not looking for that type of person. You want somebody that's maybe a little bit more affectionate, a little bit more reassuring. If your attachment styles have not been fixed, if you have unhealthy attachment styles, that can also go into why you don't trust people. You have to look at all these things about yourself first before you put burdens on people, because no one should have to text you a couple of times a day for you to feel they're not sticking their ding-a-ling in somebody else. If you don't have that own self-secure attachment styles, that is not their problem. That is an actual you problem. Because a person can't reassure you every single moment of the day that they're not doing something behind your back. If that's something you coming into a situation with, you might need to go get that checked as far as getting yourself healed. Now, if you decide to walk down this situation with a person, y'all decide to make it to the next level, then yes, there needs to be some expectations. They need to know, what do you expect out of a relationship? A lot of people go into relationships and they don't tell people what their expectations is. So now the person is thinking, hold on. So I'm about to get off at this exit, and then I'm gonna probably end the video. I was just trying to make sure I'm not lost. My hair looks so bad. A lot of times people go into relationships. What I do notice is that people go into relationships and they only ask basic questions about, well, what are you looking for? And they say, I'm looking for something serious. And what are you looking for? And what type of things do you like? What type of things do you like? And it's like, they never ask like the core questions about like state of mind, pressure, things that when stuff arises, how do you react? What type of person are you? You know what I mean? And then when they tell you these things, you start to now watch if what they told you match up to what they said. So it's kind of like you're on a preliminary trial period with this person. So When a person says, well, what do you expect out of a relationship? A lot of y'all don't even know how to answer that question because you haven't done the actual thought about, okay, when I was in this last relationship, they did XYZ. What made me mad about that? What did I not like about it? And it's like, oh, okay, I didn't like this, this, and this because of this. It made me feel this. You have to tell people that. Hey, when I'm in a relationship and this person does this, I don't like if a person does this, this, and this, because now it makes me question their morality or validity, blah, 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 blah. Those are real conversations. Because people go into relationships and you're like, oh, I didn't know you wanted me to do this. I didn't know you expected me to do it this way or da 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 da. Even if it might seem small or minute, if it's important to you, then it should be important to that person. That's how you understand people. What's important to me should be important to you if me and you are going to go down this journey that we call life together. If y'all not having those type of conversations, you're wasting your time. Because now all you're doing is playing a guessing game. Hoping and wishing this person like this, and you don't even know if they like flowers. They tell you they're allergic to flowers. They like chrysanthemums, whatever they call it, daisies, or like me, I don't like roses. Okay, but I like tulips. So you got to know, like, what are people's deal breakers? I remember they asked this girl on one of these dating shows, was it a girl or a guy? I think it was a guy. And they said, what are your deal breakers? He goes, I don't have any. As long as the girl is cool and she's, accepting, I'm cool with that. When you say that, it's fine. I'm not saying that it's a bad answer, but those type of answers tell me about that person. It tells me they haven't done the real deep soul searching. And if they have, they're probably too afraid to talk about it because they feel like people are going to judge them if they have like this long list of particulars. But then the problem with that is then they get into these relationships and they have all these particulars. If you know you don't like your food touching on the plate, some people have these weird quirks, and then this person cooks dinner for you and the food is touching, and then you have your face like screwed up because you're too afraid to tell the person, oh, I have particulars. These are my little quirks. So do you tell a person that on the first date, I have quirks? No, I'm talking about when you get to know a person, they need to understand that you are a particular kind of person. I have particulars. What do you mean? Once we get to know each other, you'll see that I have a certain way of doing things. And they say, well, is it going to be a problem? You say, I don't know. Are you an accepting type of person? Are you like one of those people that are conditional? You like people to be a certain type of way? We have a lot of particulars as humans that we don't want to come to grips with when we get into relationships. And those things become a problem. If you don't like your clothes washed a certain type of way, or you like animals that the other person don't like you a dog person and that person doesn't like dogs, these things can be issues because people treat their animals as a spouse. They like animals, and if you can't come into a relationship and respect that they have an animal and they like their animal, that might be a deal breaker. But people don't sit down and take the time to evaluate what is good for me. They just want to have quick sex and it feels good. And yeah, I could just deal with the toxicity of, I don't like the other stuff about this person. That other stuff is what's going to break y'all up. I'm just saying. And if you stay with the person because, the passion is great, it becomes a soul tie, and those things are hard to break. Do you want to go down that rabbit hole? I'm sure you don't, because that thing is torturous. Trust me, I know. Those things are getting rid of soul ties is you'd be like, man, let me just deal with it because I can't take this pain. I don't want to deal without this person. But everything about this person is driving me crazy. Soul ties. And it doesn't mean that the person is a bad person. It just means that's not your person. That person is just not for you. But people don't want to come to grips with it. Everyone is not a narcissist. Some people are just not for you. And maybe it might bring out narcissistic traits in that person because y'all constantly arguing. trying to make this person your fit, and it's not your fit. This person is just not for you. God didn't design that person for you. You will know when a person is for you if God designed that person for you. And a lot of y'all not speaking to God when y'all make these decisions. When y'all jump into bed with people and it's not approved by God, he's going to leave you to that confusion, and you're going to be confused for a long time because you didn't want to humble yourself. You want to act like you know everything. Okay, you know everything. So when y'all at the court and she's suing you for stuff, or he's suing you for stuff, or y'all in jail because y'all can't control your temper, don't come crying to me. That's what God going to tell you. Because I tried to warn you and say, before you jump into the situation, make sure you have crossed your I's and dotted your T's, that this is the person for you. But no, you couldn't keep your ding-a-ling in your pants, and you couldn't keep your panties on. So now you're stuck with this soul tie, and it's wreaking havoc on your life. A soul tie will destroy you inside and out. So I'm just saying, take your time, but still be open. When you meet people, stop having a grudge, stop having an attitude, stop having the resting bitch face. Nobody wants to be around a miserable person. Put a smile on your face. It's not the end of the world. You're still living, you're still breathing. Okay, you got a little bit of problems. Okay, I get it. Everybody got problems. Stop coming into relationships with false fantasies. I don't like when I hear these dating coaches, and I'm not saying they're wrong, but it's about giving a person an illusion. So instead of keeping it real and telling them your problems, I'm not saying tell them all your problems on day one. I'm not saying that, because it will turn anybody off if you're leading with your problems. But when they ask you an honest question, give an honest answer. If a man is asking you about your sleeping patterns, as far as sleeping with other people, right? You can tell when a person is asking you a question based off of just wanting an honest answer, and when they're asking you a question when they're trying to judge you. If you go on a date and within the first couple of dates, he asking you personal questions about your sex life and stuff, then you could tell he hasn't matured and hasn't done the work. So don't go on a date with that dude no more. He's a creep. Why he want to know how many men you slept with? What relevance is that to his life? Am I a prostitute right now? Am I doing a prostitution? No. So why do you care how many people I had in my past? Unless you're asking a relevant question as to why did you and your ex break up? What was the dynamics between y'all relationship? Is there a pattern in the relationships you've broken up with? Have you learned? What have you learned from those breakups? Have you taken any accountability? That's how you can ask a question and see where a person's mindset is. But you don't come straight out and be like, so how many men you slept with? So how many baby daddies you got? When they start coming with that attitude, just pay your side of the bill and say, you have a nice night. You ain't got to go any further as to why you walking away. That's none of his business. If he want to act belligerent in the restaurant, deuces, my nigga. I ain't got time for this. I ain't got time for you sitting up here acting like you holier than thou, like you're better than me. If a person is coming off like that, that is not a nice person. He probably has a bitter chip on his shoulder about females, and he's going to come at you with that nasty attitude about how women is this and how women need to stay in their place. You don't need that in your life. Same thing with the guys. If you want to date and she asking you all about your money, your credit score, how big your dick is, just pay your portion of the bill. If you want to pay hers, you have a nice night, ma'am. We're not doing this. You need to be picking mature-minded people, especially if you a certain age. If you that age where you're ready to settle down, you don't have time to be wasting time. It may seem mean, but it's cutoff game time. If you in the club every night, it's cutoff game time, ma'am. If you're not mature enough to understand being in the club every night is a bad look, we ain't got no type of conversation. If you drinking all the time, we don't have time for conversation. We don't. That's the type of time y'all need to get on to find real people. People need to start being real about telling people about your past. You don't got to tell them every intricate detail that's going to scare the shit out of them, but they need to know that you've been through some stuff. Don't come off like this dainty, prissy girl that, you know, have a perfect life, and then a month later, you know, he come to your house and your baby daddy calling and your kids is cursing you out, or, you know, just too much is going on. It's going to be a shell shock, and he probably not going to want to call you no more. If the sex is good, he'll probably put you on in a compartmentalization where he only wants to have sex with you. I remember a long time ago, I was dating this guy and I had really liked him, right? And you know, I had a job. I was working as a cashier, check cashing place agent. I was an agent at a check cashing place. And, you know, I had bills and I had my kids, my daughter. I didn't have my son and my daughter yet. I had my first child. She was young. And he would see, like, when he come over, I'm doing laundry. I'm trying to, you know, get ready for the work week. So he would always come right in the middle of, like, when I'm cooking and cleaning and doing different things, just like have a life. The baby's crying. She wasn't like a baby, but she was young. And one day he said, I said, I noticed you don't call me as much as you used to. What happened? Because he always want to go out. He would say, let's go out. And I'm like, I can't go out. My daughter, I don't have a babysitter. So he was like, your life is too real for me. And when I was younger, I didn't really understand what that meant. Maybe I was naive or slow. So I was like, what do you mean it's too real? And he was like, you nice and everything, you cute, but I just ain't looking for all that. Because he didn't have no kids. He had a good job. I think he was like a technician for a cable company. He was making decent money. And I said, how you gonna say my life is real when you live with your mother? I got my own apartment. And he was like, I know, but... So I said, basically what you're doing is you're judging me. And he was like, I'm not judging you. It's just that I just don't want that type of life. Like, it's just too real for me. And I just was not understanding. I got so defensive because I had really liked him. It hurt my feelings that he didn't want to continue dating. He just wanted to be like a friend booty call kind of thing. Like, it went from hot and heavy, hanging out, going out. But then when I started telling him I can't go out all the time and I'm not available, he just switched up. So this is what I'm saying. When you're meeting people, they have to see your life. They have to see what you got going on in order to know if they really want to be a part of your life. That's what I'm trying to say. So don't just think because y'all met up and you had on a cute dress and he took you out on a night of a town, everything was nice and romantic, and then when real life hits, when it's time for him to come chill with you at your house and you chill with him at his house and you seeing things a different kind of way, that's the time to bring up the conversation. If I can go back and say, did that guy do the right thing? In a way, he did. He kept it real. He said, I don't want to sign up for this. You got a baby. I'm not ready for all this type of realness. I just want to have a good time, have a cute girl on my arm, and that's it. That's about as real as a man is going to get with you. We as females don't want to accept that sometimes. So when you see a situation, tell that person, listen, I'm starting to get to know you. I'm starting to see that this and this and this. You got real good ties with your kids. I like that. I want a family too. I want to be able to have my kids come meet your kids. Is that going to be an issue? Are you open to us blending families and all that stuff? Like, these are questions we don't ask until it's too late. And then you find out, you ask the person, why did y'all break up? Oh, they didn't want to get to know my kids. Oh, well, did you know that they didn't like kids? I didn't know that until a year later. It took you a whole year to know that they don't like kids? This is what I'm talking about. We go into this fantasy thinking and it's not realistic. So, anyways, I'm about to get off this phone. I hope you have a good rest of your day. Enjoy your Sunday. Love y'all much. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Bye.